Good evening everybody, hope everybody's well. So just out on a little ride tonight and do a video on a new bike that I've got. Decided to get rid of the Kawasaki H2 SX. Was having a bit of a problem just moving it around in the garage because of its weight. Done some ligaments in this arm at the top and struggling, nearly dropped it a few times. So still wanted something with plenty of power and excitement. But something a little bit lighter and some straight bars and something a little bit different. The H2 with its supercharged engine was always a bit special, so didn't want a just normal inline 4, so decided to go for a change and picked up the new bike a couple of weeks ago. Just under 2 weeks and about 350 miles on it so far, so I shall show you what the new bike is, take you around what I've done on it so far and what's planned for it, and yeah, go from there. So here is the new bike. It is an Aprilia Tuono. It's the 1100 V4 and it's the RR version, not the factory. Main reasons I went for the RR over the factory was, number one, I'm going to use this to go on my Picos tour, so I want a perch at the back that I can strap a bag to, which, as you can see, I've got tank bag on it at the moment, and you'll see a little bracket just here. Bought the Ventura rails so I can put them on with the sport rack on the back and a little bag on the back. This here is from Jivy. You will notice here there is no screws to attach the Jivy tank ring to. You have to take this out, take that off, and SW Motec do one for it, but Jivy don't. But I managed to find this from a company in Northern Ireland, which is for the Jivy tank bags, and it means you just strap that to the rear seat and can use any Jivy tank lock bag as a towel pack, so that works really well. 25 quid I think that was. So what else have we done so far? We're only 2 weeks in. One of the main changes for comfort on the longer journeys is the Power Bronze double bubble screen. You'll see that it has got quite a sharp profile, and on the road it does make a huge difference. It is like riding the SX, the H2 SX, in terms of wind protection from the screen. Obviously not from the fairing, but certainly from the screen it works, so that's worked well. And the other thing that we've done so far, which I got the dealer to put on, is Aprilia don't offer heated grips, which when you ride all year round in the UK you need, so it gets cruise control and everything else. But the dealer kindly put some Oxford heated grips on and has wired them into the ignition, which is nice. They work really well. Concerns that the batteries on these are not very big, excuse me, and they struggle if you use them too much. We'll see how we get on, but if needs be we'll buy a lithium ion battery as a replacement. It's got a lot more power, but we'll see how we go. At the moment you'll see it's got the standard can. Next week this is going into wheels in Peterborough for the official Accra end can and race map. With the Aprilia, they're very clever at getting around emissions and everything like that, but what they do is in this area here, the cat is just under there, so when you take off the end can, off comes the cat, so it automatically decats the bike. So hence why you have the race map put on from Aprilia. But now I've got a good deal from Wheels on that, so that should make the bike sound a lot better and look a little bit sleeker at the back. A couple of other reasons that I went for the RR over the factory, as I said, one is the provision of a pillion seat and luggage. Two is the tyres that come on as standard. These are Diablo Rosso 3s, whereas the factory comes with Supercorsa SPs. Brilliant track tyre and a warm day road tyre, but not very good for mile munching and longevity, so I'd have had to change the tyres if I'd have paid the extra for the factory. Yes, the factory comes with the Öhlins electronic suspension, I don't really need that on the road. This sack suspension that's on this is really good. I've been over some really bumpy B roads, no problem with it at all. So yeah, I didn't see paying the extra 2-3 grand, whatever it was, for the factory to have a more restricted rear seat and have tyres that I'd want to replace, just have some nice bling Olins and a different paint job. The brakes are the same. They're I think they're 350mm M50 Brembo brakes and discs. Slightly narrower rear tyre as standard on the RR. It's a 190 section, whereas on the factory it comes with the 200, but you can fit those to these, and the electronics on this you can recalibrate to allow the traction control to work with a wider tyre. Got my ultimate add-ons phone case already on. We've attached that just by replacing one of the stem bolts, as the fitment through the yoke is a different fitment than the bracket I already had from the Kawasaki, so use the stem bolt from the KTM that I've also got. On the KTM, I'm not sure I'll keep 2 naked bikes, so the KTM might go run one bike for a while and then potentially look at something a little bit off-roady for doing some green laning next year. So yeah, so I've only done about 350, 400 miles. Initial verdict of the bike, it's a stunning piece of kit. The suspension is fantastic out of the box, suits me perfectly with the standard factory settings, gives you great confidence when leading into roundabouts and corners. It is a lot lighter. Fuel consumption, don't buy these for this, it is a little bit thirsty. Got an 18.4 litre tank, and the light's coming on around about 120 miles, and then you've got about 20-25 miles left before you need to fill up. By then you need to stretch your legs anyway, because the foot pegs are quite rear set. It is basically an RSV4 with its panels stripped off and some straight bars. Most other parts are pretty much the same. The TFT dash, I really like that. You'd have seen plenty of videos on it, but do like the TFT. It's missing some information that you'd expect to have on other bike, but that you'd expect to have a standard which you get on other bikes. It doesn't have a fuel gauge, so back to the traditional fuel light, it's not a problem, just keep resetting the trip. It doesn't have an outside temperature gauge, so I got so used to knowing how warm or cold it is outside, it doesn't have one of them, so just have to look at me weather app before I go out to have an idea what the temperature's like. But apart from that, I've gone for I think they call it the Magni Core colour scheme, which is matte black. The other one is Rosso Saxon Ring, I think, which is gloss black and red trim, whereas this is matte black and grey trim. I haven't got a tank pad for it. Dealer's putting one on the first service when that's due it's going in on the 3rd of August for one of them. Have the Aprilia one put on that. Typical Italian bike in terms of ease of working on. It's not very easy to do some normal things. Changing this out was an absolute pig, because believe it or not, what you have to do is undo and take off all the plastic either side of here to get and loosen off the front fairing, so you can pull it forward to get to the 2 bolts that sit right hidden down there. So that was a bit of faffing about, but I'm glad I took the time to do it and put it on. And putting this bracket on, I haven't put a tail tidy on because of making sure the Ventura luggage fits, but this here fits in the 2 back nuts that hold the rear tail piece on. So you'd think fairly easy, take the seat off, undo them. No, they've got a couple of 10mm locking nuts on them that's virtually impossible to try and get your hands or a spanner to. So it's again a faff about trying to get the nuts off and put them back on. A couple of lost nuts sitting around in the back of the seat somewhere, which will make their way out at some point. But it's fine. It's just little things that you get idiosyncrasies with the bike. The bike's built for 2 things really. It's built for its fantastic sounding V4 engine. I'll start that up in a moment, and it's fantastic handling. So the bits, the the whys and wherefores of doing little changes, I don't think they're too fussed about. But what we'll do a walk around and we'll do a start up. Just got some people walking past, so we won't annoy them. We'll do that in a minute. Okay, so she started up just on tick over. She's fairly warm. We've had a 15-20 minute ride to get out here. Now this is the stock cam, which I probably again even quite clever with the stock cam. At tick over, the decibels and that are kept below a certain level. As soon as it's put in gear and gets over certain revs, the flaps open and it gets quite deep. But you get to hear what it sounds like on normal. There's quite a nice draw from the airbox at the front. Yeah, that's how she sounds as standard. Should sound a lot better next week when the Acra system goes on with no cat, the map, and almost certainly we'll run it without the baffle. But there you go, that's my initial thoughts of, well, my initial video and thoughts of the Aprilia Tuono V4 1100RR. Thanks to On Your Bike near Aylesbury for the deal that they offered on the trade-in and on the new bike. This was discounted by a good couple of £1,000 and I got a good trade-in, as they deal with Kawasaki's as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but initial thoughts are, yeah, great bike. Doesn't like travelling at town speeds, 30 mile an hour and things like that, or 50 k's if you're abroad. Yeah, it does, it's a little bit lumpy, it hunts up and down. It's the easiest way is just stick it in cruise control through towns and villages and let it bumble along on that. But we'll do some regular updates of how we go, and the next video should be after the exhaust is done, and then a further video once she's covered her 600 miles and been serviced and we can fully open her up. So until the next time, ride safe and I'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.